last example, we're going to look at inequalities now for a polynomial equation. So we're going to do just graph the curve and then talk about what side of the graph is the part that's going to be the solution. Remember, you're not getting like 3 answers here. You're getting a portion of the graph. So first thing we're going to do is graph if it was an equation, right? Like the line. So x cubed minus 16x. So the first thing you would do is recognize there's a GCF, take the x out. Now you've got x squared minus 16 squares. So that breaks down into x minus 4 and x plus 4. So your zeros are -4, 0, and 4. Now you can function through those zeros. So you can identify what portions are below and what portions are above. Remember, it's an inequality where it's this 0. So basically your solution's where it's red. So your solution is x values that are less than -4 and x values that are between 0 and 4. Right? So what are the solutions for these ones? Well, why don't you give it a try? Check it out. I mean, you're going to solve it by graphing. So, see what you can do with making a graph and finding the zeros and sketching the curve and all that stuff. So give that a try. Come back and compare answers. We came back for part A. I didn't think there'd be room for part B, so we'll pause again in a minute. But let's go over part A. First thing, found a GCF of 2x, took that out. So that means x equals 0 is one of the zeros there. X squared plus 6x plus 6, not factorable. So we did quadratic formula and ended up with -3 plus or minus square root 3. We estimated where they would go on the graph. Root 3 is about 1.8. So -3 minus root 3 would be about -4.8, and -3 plus root 3 would be about -1.2. And then we already knew 0 was one of the zeros. The curve goes in this direction because the leading coefficient was positive, right? So it starts low, ends high. So the parts that are below the graph, which are where it's going to be less than or equal to 0, is where x is less than -3 minus root 3, and then where x is between -3 plus square root 3 and 0. So those are the two intervals where the x will be less than 0. All right. So I'm going to need to erase and go back and do part B. So I'm going to pause again. So come back. If you've already tried part B, you can just hang on. If you haven't, then give part B a try and come back. This is all factorable for part B. First part factors in x plus 1 and x minus 1, so the zeros you get are -1 and 1. This part factors into x minus 3 and x plus 2, so the zeros are 3 and -2. I plotted the points on the zeros because the leading coefficient, if you were to factor this, multiply this together, would be positive. It's going to open up like this. So it'll be rising to the left and rising to the right. So the parts that are above the x-axis are x is less than -2, where x is between -1 and 1, and where x is greater than 3. So these are the intervals right here, where x is positive. All right, so give the exit ticket a try, and let me know if you have any questions.